Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa from Mythical Witchery. Today I am doing a video response to Rose Honey Ritual and Garden Goddess Tarot, only 10 mass market decks. Now I just need to say off the top that this is a lot harder than it sounds. And I had to think, if I had a fire in my flat and I had to get out, what 10 decks would I choose to take with me? And of course, there were indie decks on that list. And the whole point of this is mass market decks. So that makes it a lot tougher. And there are so many decks. And the decks that I choose today might be different tomorrow. But anyway, I did my best. I am going to say that I did cheat. There are 11 decks, not 10, because I could not choose one without the other. So we're going to start. This is roughly in order, starting with my least favorite up to my very favorite. But again, that is very loose. Some of these could easily change. Anyway, we'll start with number 10/11. And that would be the Magical Dogs Tarot and the Soul Cats Tarot. And I should just say here too that this tarot tag was intended to include both tarot and oracle decks, but I decided for myself just to do tarot decks. So starting with Magical Dogs. This is a Llewellyn deck. And I really love this deck, starting with a fantastic guidebook with loads and loads of information. But again, I'm not going to spend much time with the guidebooks. We'll get straight to the decks themselves. I love Llewellyn cardstock. I know a lot of people hate it, but I love it because I find it so easy to shuffle. And having arthritis, shuffling is an issue for me, a really big issue. So if I can riffle shuffle a deck, that makes a big difference in how I feel about it. Anyway, these are the backs, which I think are fabulous. And we'll just look at some of the cards here. I love animals. And dogs are really special to me, unfortunately. But, I've reached a point in my life where it would not be fair for the dog. So I get my doggy pleasure out of a deck like this. And I really love it. It's so sweet. So many dogs in here. I just want to give a cuddle. So yeah, I love the imagery on here. It has such a fun feeling to it. It's a gentle deck. It just makes me feel happy. And that's a good thing to have in a deck. I think it's important to have feel-good decks. So that is the Magical Dogs Tarot. And that comes in at number 10/11. And next we have the Soul Cats Tarot, also 10/11, by Lisa Robertson, art by Adam Ohlers. And again, this is a Llewellyn deck. Another fantastic guidebook. Beautiful backs. And gorgeous cards. I am a cat person, I've always had cats. And in fact, I think there's maybe only been a total of 6 months in my life that I have not had a cat. So I cannot imagine life without them. And now that I am edging towards 60 and I am officially a crazy cat lady. Mind you, shouldn't I have more than 2 cats to be a crazy cat lady? Maybe. That's okay. I feel like a crazy cat lady because I am crazy for cats. So yeah, what I love about this deck, or one of the many things I love about this deck, is that these are cats being cats. And I've talked about this, I've talked about this before in another video. There's a couple of cat decks that I'm just not fond of because they're cats being humans, or human in cat suits, and that just doesn't work for me. Whereas this deck, the cats are cats and doing cat things, and that makes me happy. So yeah, I love that deck. That is the Soul Cats Tarot, coming in at number 11/10. On to number 9 is the Mystic Faerie Tarot. You're going to see a lot of Llewellyn decks here, but I do like my thumb one on top of the other. Again, a very good guidebook. I love this deck because each of the minor suits tell a story. So starting with the ace all the way through. And it's just, it makes, I don't know, it just adds an element to the deck that's really lovely. So let's look at the cards. These are the backs. And again, it's that nice, flexible Llewellyn cardstock. This is, I think, my favorite fairy deck. And I have quite a lot of fairy decks. But this one just, to me, just feels... Gosh, there's a lot of cards upside down here. This one, to me, just feels, I don't know, it's sweet. You know, it may not be as hard-hitting as, say, the Tarot of the She, but it feels more inviting to me. It feels more welcoming, and I can really get into these cards more and feel more connected to them, a lot more so than certain other decks. So yes, this is definitely up there in my top 10 decks that I would take if I had a fire. I do. It's still a lot of decks to carry, isn't it? So that is the Mystic Faerie Tarot at number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have the Tarot of New Vision. And this was a deck that was recommended to me a while back by my niece. And this is the Low Scarabeo deck. Here. This one has just a load of spreads at the back. The cards themselves, again, they're a thinner cardstock, so they're easy to shuffle. And these are the backs. This deck is I really like this deck because it shows the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, but from behind. So instead of looking at the fool approaching the cliff, you're seeing what the fool is seeing when he's looking over the cliff. So it gives a different perspective. Sorry, I just realized you probably couldn't see those. These are very glossy, so I know that it's reflecting part of my camera lens, and I do apologize for that. That's one of the downsides of a glossy cardstock. Yeah, here's a good example. This is the magician. So you're seeing, instead of just looking at the magician standing there, you're seeing all these people that are, you know, in front of him. And you see the little monkey behind him. So obviously there's some artistic license here, but the imagery is based on a lot of research and things that just make sense. There's the fool there. Over here there's a volcano exploding in the distance. So yeah, I just find this deck to be, it makes me think. You know, it gives a different perspective to very traditional imagery on these cards. At the inside of the church, so the people that are outside, you know, they don't realize that if they came in, they would have shelter, you know, they would have warmth, they would have help. And this is someone who's inside getting all those things that they're not. Mind you, he still doesn't look very happy, does he? So that is the Tarot of New Visions, which is number 8 on my list. Tarot of New Vision. I think I said visions. I apologize for that. Number 7 is the Tarot of the Divine. I love this deck. It's such a beautiful deck. This is published by Clarkson Potter. Got this lovely clamshell style box. Nice little color guidebook. And the cards, oh, this is one of those guilty pleasure things for me. Sorry about that, I had the postman at the door. What I love about these cards is their linen. One of many things I love, but this linen cardstock, oh, it is such a pleasure to work with. This deck is based on stories from around the world, and every one of these cards, you can look in the guidebook and read the little story, and it helps to understand the card, gives a different view on the card and makes it more real, I guess. They're so beautiful. And it is such a pleasure to work with for so many reasons, not the least of which is the cardstock itself and how nice it is to shuffle. I could work with this all day and my hands would never get tired of it. Imagery is beautiful. Colors are lovely. So yeah, just a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. And definitely a favorite. So again, Tarot of the Divine, and that is number 7 on my list. Coming in at number 6, and this was a surprise to me when I did the VR response to Lisa Papez's 21 tarot questions. I believe that was the tag. This was actually a deck that I said I had decided not to buy. Well, I changed my mind. And you know what? Am I ever glad I did? I love it. Absolutely love it. This is another Llewellyn deck. And it is so beautiful. I'm not normally into decks that have just one type. Well, okay, that's not true at all, because I have quite a few cat decks and I have a couple of dog decks. So I guess I am into decks that have, and crow decks that have a single animal. So I'm, just forget that, scratch that. I didn't say that. Wisdom of the Owls is the name of the guidebook. And it is a really gorgeous guidebook. Color. Good explanations. Okay, let's look at the cards, because that's the best part. These are the backs. Oh my God. Look at them. They are so beautiful. Just so beautiful. And the cards themselves. I thought, how could they make an entire deck of owls without having the cards look the same? Well, they did. Every card is unique. They all fit. They make sense. Look at that tower. And they're gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Love the vibrant, bright colors. The images are cute. This is, to me, this is another feel-good deck. Really love it. So yeah, and again, being a Llewellyn deck, I find it really easy to shuffle. And that matters a lot. There are some decks that could have made it onto this list easily, except for the fact that I find them difficult to shuffle. I might love the decks. Crow Tarot is a really good example. I love the Crow Tarot, but I struggle to shuffle it because of my arthritis. So, you know, if I had to choose between the Crow Tarot and the Tarot of the Owls, it's going to be the Tarot of the Owls every time. So that is my number 6. Coming in at number 5, this should be no surprise. Cat Tarot. Oh my God. I love this deck. This is so much fun. This is probably my favorite fun deck. Well, no, that's probably not true. It's up there though. Okay, those are the backs. This is published by Chronicle Books. It's a nice cardstock, easy to shuffle. And I love the images. They make me laugh. You know, how perfect is that? They're so cute. It's cats being cats. Doing what cats do. Oh, look at that. I mean, is that not perfect for the Two of Cups? It is so perfect. Oh, there are some cards in here that just make me laugh so hard. If we can find the death card, that's a perfect example. Oh, look at the lovers. Yeah, this is just a fantastic deck. There we go. There's a death card. Oh, how funny is that? Oh my god. Yeah, love this deck. I love the art style, but I'm partial to watercolors, being a watercolorist myself. Oh, look at that. Beautiful deck. Fun. Oh, the devil. Every time I look at this, it just makes me laugh. You've got to have decks like this in your collection. You have to have decks that make you laugh, decks that make you smile, decks that are fun. You know, how perfect is that? There they are on their tower, and thunder and lightning strikes, and off they go. Oh. Oh, look at that in the bag. Every time I look at this deck, it just makes me happy. Justice. Just perfect. Perfect. Just about every card in here is perfect. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So that is the Cat Tarot. And that is number 5 on my list. Number 4 is another really fun deck. The Trick or Treat Tarot. I love this deck. And again, another Llewellyn deck. You should be expecting that by now. So we have another great guidebook. I do love these guidebooks. I'm partial to them. The cards. Here are the backs. To me, the cards in here are perfect. They are really perfect. For example, the Fool. You know, here he is. He's looking a little bit raggedy. He's got an empty bucket, not looking particularly happy. But off he goes. But when we get to the World, if we find the World in here, it's quite a different story. It just shows the progression. But the cards are, they're definitely, you can look at them side by side with a Rider-Waite-Smith and say, yeah, I understand the artistic choices here in most cases. They're fun. It's a fantastic October, November deck, but also good all year round, especially if you love Halloween or Samhain. So yeah, this is another fantastic deck, lots of fun, and one that I enjoy reaching for. I don't use it year round. To me, it's, look at that. Oh, the Cat in the Hat. He's looking a little bit dodgy. Because it gives me something to look forward to every year. You know, that's important. Oh, Halloween's coming. I get to pull out my Trick or Treat deck and use that. So, yes. There he is, the World. He's home. He's got his little bucket. It's just bursting with candy. He's looking a happy boy. So it's the Halloween tarot. Sorry. The Trick or Treat tarot. And that is my number 4. Oh, it's getting exciting. Coming in at number 3 is my Light Seers. Oh, this deck is so special to me. An interesting thing about this deck, and of course this was an indie deck to start with, and then published by Hay House. When I first got this deck, I had seen the indie version and I wanted it desperately. So I went on Etsy and I found it with the beautiful foil edges and everything, and I was so excited. And I got it and it was counterfeit. It was, oh, I was devastated. Absolutely devastated. I guess I feel kind of stupid looking back because I should have realized, but I didn't. The Etsy shop ended up, I reported it and I got my money back and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I edged this myself closest I could get. But anyway, bought a proper version and haven't ever looked back. I really love this deck. This is the best selling, next to the OG Rider-Waite-Smith. This has so many upside down. Maybe I'll just turn them around. Next to the OG, this is the best selling deck on Amazon, which really says something. This deck, and it's not just because, oh, everybody has it, everybody wants it. So many people want it for a reason. It is a beautiful deck. It's somewhat diverse. Not so much age diversity, but it's lovely. And it speaks to me. This is one of my favorite decks especially for working with other people. It was my favorite deck working just with myself for a long time. I felt like it was my soul deck for a while until I found my soul deck and then realized that it was close, but not quite. So, yeah, this is the Light Seers Tarot. And it's popular for a reason. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. I was a bit surprised. If you'd asked me a year ago what would be number 1, it probably would have been this. But things have changed a bit. So that is the Light Seers. That is my number 3. If I could pick only 10 mass market decks. Coming in at number 2, another Llewellyn deck. It's the Forest of Enchantment. Oh gosh, when I got this deck, it just, it speaks to me on so many levels. It's so pretty. It's very green. There's a lot of green in this deck. But you would hope so in a deck called Forest of Enchantment. It is a lovely deck. It has beautiful, gentle energy. Let's have a look at the cards. So these are the backs. This is another one of those decks that makes me happy. This is almost, to me, an inner child deck. It's beautiful. Look at that. Just lovely. I don't know, maybe it speaks to me so much because of my Celtic heritage and, of course, my Irish husband. But I love it. Really love it. Look at that. Council of Animals. And the guidebook is very, very good. That Empress. Just beautiful. I almost feel a bit of a reverence going through these cards. Oh, it makes me happy. Interesting, so many of the decks that I have chosen for this are decks that make me feel good. Decks that make me happy. I guess I've reached that point in my life when feeling good and being happy are pretty important. So that was my number 2, Forest of Enchantment. And now moving on to my number 1, which was a surprise even to me. It is the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. This deck is an experience. This deck bridges the gap between what we think of mass market quality decks and indie quality decks. This is a step above, a huge, huge step above a standard mass market deck. Aside from the fact that there's so much diversity in here, this deck was informed by the artist's personal queer and trans experiences, has diverse representations of gender, sexuality, and culture, introduces queer and non-binary identities while staying true to traditional tarot meanings. To me, that is so important in a deck these days. My best friend is trans. I have other people in my life who have different gender identities, and it is so important to me that decks, especially decks that are produced today, recognize the importance of diversity. It is one of the most important things, in my opinion. If a deck is published today and doesn't recognize the importance of that, I have a serious issue with it. But this deck is just, it is stunning aside from all that. So we have the little ribbon. We love the ribbon. Hardcover guidebook. How often do you see that? Not often. And it is a nice guidebook. It's got great descriptions. It really explains his artistic choices. The only problem with this deck, or with the guidebook, I should say, is it needs a ribbon. What is that? Why does this beautiful book not have a ribbon? Oh, anyway, it doesn't make sense to me. Having said that, let's move on to the cards themselves. Here are the backs. This deck is a linen deck. It's a very smooth linen deck, but it is linen. And it's got a foil edging. I do love gilded edges. And this one, it's they feel nice. Some gilding feels icky, but this doesn't. Now the cards. Oh, they're beautiful. Really beautiful. Very limited color palette. The suits, wands, I believe, are, I think they're yellow. I'll have to, we'll see when we go in here. For some reason, I'm thinking green. Cups are blue. Swords are red. Pentacles are sort of this goldy brown color. Just another really beautiful. Look at that hermit. Isn't she gorgeous? Look at her with her book and old style lantern. Look at that high priestess. Gosh, she's gorgeous. Just beautiful. The Fool. This deck is a dream to shuffle. An absolute dream. The limited color palette, too. I sometimes struggle with that in other decks, but I don't in this. It works. It really, really works. My arms are getting sore. Oh, it's green, sort of a yellowy green. When I added this to my collection, it became an instant favorite. I had to really think about buying this because it is more expensive. And, you know, I could have got 2 other decks for the price of this. Look at her. Just beautiful. But I'd heard so many good things about the quality of this deck. I'd watched several walkthroughs. And before I made a decision to go ahead with it. And am I ever glad that I did? Because I love it. Absolutely love this deck. So that is number 1 on my list of top 10 mass market decks. This is, of course, published by US Games. So there we have it. And just a quick recap. Number 10 and 11, Magical Dogs and the Soul Cats. Number 9, Mystic Fairies. Number 8, Tarot of the New Vision. Number 7, Tarot of the Divine. Number 6, Tarot of the Owls. Number 5, Cat Tarot. Number 4, Trick or Treat Tarot. Number 3, The Light Seers. Number 2, Forest of Enchantment. And number 1, the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. So thank you so much to Meg at Rose Honey Ritual and Thea at Garden Goddess Tarot for a great tarot tag. This was so much fun to do, so much fun to decide on the decks. It was not easy, but it was fun. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified of any other videos that I do in the future. Have a lovely day. Until next time, may love and laughter light your days. Bye for now. Bye-bye.